Welcome to the Fix Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Weaver, and I'll be covering why digital marketing is broken and what to do about it with the Fix Marketing Framework. On this podcast, I hope you start looking at marketing just like investing. There's tons of risk involved, but you can mitigate it, measure success, and improve your returns over time by having a winning strategy. Now, I've been doing internet marketing for about 10 years. Started way back when I was in college. Took a course, had to actually build a website from scratch, start selling products, spend my own money, got scared, rolled into a hotel business doing $15,000 a month in marketing for them, and then moving on from there to more businesses, 120 locations throughout the United States and Canada, local businesses, service professionals, big e-commerce businesses, B2B businesses. So I feel like I've done a little bit of everything. But one thing I've really found out for sure is there's only two problems. There's either getting more eyeballs or more people seeing what you're offering, or getting more action takers. So the right promotion, the right trigger words, the right way on the page that people can see the stuff that you're offering, or the call to action, the forms right there for them to fill out, things like that. So there's getting more people to see, getting more people to take action. So I created the Fix framework basically out of my attempt to understand this confusing marketing thing, especially with digital. It's not like somebody had just written a book that was actually super helpful and clarified it for me. And so I still haven't found anything like what I teach. And so I had to create it myself. So the framework is really this. Fix in Fix Marketer stands for framework, identity, and X factor. So I kind of look at the framework as there's a 7-step or 7 categories, however you want to look at it, that you need to kind of have a strategy in if you're actually going to have a marketing strategy. And second, you need to apply what makes you unique, your unique value proposition that convinces people to buy from you, to that framework. And then you need to do some X factors, or things that actually move things up further. You can't just do the baseline, which I also cover as well, and we'll cover plenty of times during the podcast, and in the same book called Fix Marketer as well, cover the same principles. But, there's a lot of things that aren't X factors anymore. You thought doing something was actually going to make you stand out above the crowd. It's not. So there are some definitely tips or tricks that will help you stand out, rank better in search engines, or get more paid traffic to your site, those sorts of things. So I do want to spell out for you for sure, if you primarily sell on Amazon or do e-commerce, I'll eventually cover those sorts of things probably later in a different book and in a different podcast, most likely. But this is not for you. This is not the place. Stop, go listen to some other podcasts. There's some great ones out there. But if you're a local business, a service professional, or a go-to client business, tradesman, or a brick and mortar store, this is perfect for you. You have a general defined region that you want to do business in, and you want to get more people to see and take action in that region. This is the perfect place for you to be. So if you're just starting out, this could be great for you, especially if you even just have referrals. Your business is built on referrals and you want to expand into more, sources for diversification and consistency, because you can't always force referrals, right? Or if you want to advertise more of your profitable products, or if you want to dominate the market, you want to shut out some of your competitors, or sick of seeing them at the top of the search results instead of yourself. Maybe you want to go into a new market, or maybe you want to, do the dealership route or build out more locations. This is going to be perfect for you. So let's have a heart to heart here. Internet marketing and marketing in general is very broken. And as a local business, it can feel overwhelming, frustrating, and downright life-draining. If you don't know what your cost per lead or sale is, how well each marketing channel performs, or which marketing efforts aren't working, then you aren't in control. And so I've kind of noticed businesses and business owners take 4 routes. They do it themselves, which is the majority of them. So it takes a lot of time, and they don't have the right skills. They get very frustrated or misled very easily. as they try to go down that path. And they certainly don't know how to compare or measure quite well enough between the different marketing efforts that they're doing. Another path is hiring an agency, and that obviously comes with cost. And I have actually found skill is still a problem there, because sometimes agencies talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk, right? Or you don't get enough return for the skill that they have. Another route is hiring a student. A lot of people are out there, I'll just hire somebody out there. But skill is probably the number one challenge with that. The students think they know what they need to do, but they really have no skill. And then you have to manage them. You have to, manage them. And most business owners just fail with that, because then they feel like they go read a book or tell the student to read a book and then just go do what's in that book, or they start telling the student what to do, and the student says, everything I've learned in school or everything I'm reading in, say, Fixed Marketer, for instance, is saying don't do it that way. You butt heads. And the last is obviously the worst, doing nothing. Slow growth is what's going to be the result of that, and no way to scale, and you're definitely not going to feel like you're in control. So I'm embarking on this podcast to educate you regardless of the route you take, so that if you hire somebody, you know if they're going to deliver. If you do it yourself, you can do it and cut down the amount of time that it takes to gain the skills and do that well. If you hire a student, that they could actually, use this guide or resource on doing it more correctly. And when you manage them, you can come together on your 7-step plan. And then obviously I can't really help you if you do nothing other than feel like it is possible to succeed. And if you start taking some steps, you can get there. So I really want you to be able to, on this podcast, start identifying what is working, double down on that, and cut out the fat or what's not working, so you take control of your destiny. So think of the fixed marketing framework as exactly that: a category system, framework, and a way to identify basically these are the 7 areas that I need to have a plan, to have a good solid marketing plan, that I need to be able to compare between what's working and what's not working. And I created this essentially to help you take advantage of all the real estate online, and some that's offline, where your customers are spending their time. So, there's 2 ways to really uncover what's going on. You can spend some money and measure the results, and that's a solid way. Or you can do a little research and then go find out that that's probably where my customers are hanging out, and then spend a little money there. So let's actually talk about those 7 categories, and hopefully that will help clear things up. So I have put these in a very specific order. Things that you can do right now, and probably should in this order. And it's taken me a long time to come to this conclusion of the order of these categories. So the very first order of category is reviews. You got to have a strategy for on your own website, on other websites, and search engines, to have reviews, have them consistently, and to look good, because people are definitely reading them and looking at them, and they definitely, they affect whether you show up at the top of, say, a search engine or not. And they do a lot more than people understand. The next category is buying leads / business. There's tons of sites. That's their goal, is they're going to either try to sell you media, where they're trying to get you more exposure so that people can click through and see your profile or come to your website or that sort of thing. But I'm talking even more so like trying to actually buy leads. Like there's sites that will say, okay, we've had people raise their hand, and sometimes it's as simple as just that, or people have filled out this whole thing, or they've met with us, or they've done something. Some sites are very interesting at how they qualify leads, and some are very terrible at it, right? And then they sell that to you, and it's more transactional because they know you're terrible at marketing, and they have eyeballs, and they're going to sell aspects of that, right? And some of them go as far as saying, like, we're going to make sure that you as the business owner are going to do a good job, or you're not going to be on this site, or we'll step in and fix it and then kick you off, right? So consumers like that at times as well. Then the next one I put on here is Google Ads. And that's what I used to start with, is let's just start doing some Google Ads. But I really feel like even if you don't have a website, you can do reviews, you can buy leads, right? A lot of people start at social media. That works for some businesses. I put it a little further down because though it's important, it's probably not where I would start to have the most success. And Google Ads is broken out into a couple different categories. They have those service lead ads, kind of like buying leads that I just mentioned. and that's great for a lot of service businesses, but also not great in some ways. Then there are search ads. So somebody typed into Google or spoke into Google and needed something, and you paid to come up. And then there are map ads, pretty much the same thing, but they show up in the map area of the search engines or the map app, right? So number 4 is actually Google organic search, right? So that you can come up into either the maps or underneath the maps area. It's called organic. But, you got to realize sometimes there's, 15 results, or there's the maps, Google ads, local service ads, all pushing everything that's free clicks down. And that can definitely be a minimized area in a lot of businesses and industries because Google doesn't get paid to give those free clicks. So I guarantee you over the years that is only going to shrink. Then I put website. If you can believe it, website's all the way further down there. And obviously search engine optimization is pretty key to have a website. But also if you're in the maps area, it's key to have a good local address, right? And then with a website, there's really search engine optimization, SEO, convincing people to come to your website by having the right keywords or pages that have mentioned all your services, right? But the second part goes back to those 2 problems, right, as well. You got to convince people to take action when they get to your website. So most people don't understand what the conversion rate of their website is, and that's people taking action versus eyeballs looking at it, right? And most people don't know that. So all websites are not created equal, unfortunately. So you can't just put up a website. You got to put up a good one. And then this is where a lot of businesses are starting. We're on to 6, social media. And I've only put Facebook and YouTube on there because those are honestly the 2 biggest. And Facebook's basically Instagram as well when you do advertising, for instance. So Facebook and Instagram. And then some of the other top ones are Messenger or messaging, platforms. And a lot of small businesses can't afford to get on like WhatsApp or others. It's not, eventually it might be easy for small local businesses to do that. But for now, it's not as easy, except with Facebook. And then the last is more offline and more traditional marketing. If you can believe it, that actually affects your digital marketing, and it can affect it quite profoundly at times. But that can be a ton of different things. But the 4 that I like talking about a lot are having a referral program, a strategic partner program, an email newsletter, and then either SMS, texting, or something like Facebook Messenger so that you can communicate with your customers through that. Because I really do believe you don't really own anything if you can't contact your existing customers, because that you don't have anything over your competitor, because they can go to Google or Facebook and spend money and get in front of people too. But if you can directly communicate or even mail, direct mail could be on there too. If you can mail something to them, then you can have a conversation, you can communicate your new offerings, you're going to upsell customers, you own something. A lot of business owners don't understand how critical, especially in the service industry, how absolutely critical it is that you gather customers' information, get them to opt into your email list or whatnot, because how else are you going to use those connections to leverage your business into the future or upsell them without it being painful and being the same as every other guy, right? One thing that I like to provide is a one-page marketing plan. It's got kind of baseline and X factors. And so it applies the 7 categories that we just went over, or steps, or parts of your marketing plan. And it tries to spell it out just a little easier for you. Can you just one page visualize, what are some of the things that you need to do no matter what, like reply to every review? That's a baseline factor, not an X factor. And then the X factor, like convince people to add pictures or videos to those reviews. That's an X factor. That gets a lot more business. That helps search engines and makes them happy. So that's something I want to provide for you too. Anybody that subscribes on fixedmarketer.com, I'll shoot you over access to, the one-page marketing plan, all my best resources and whatnot for you as well. So that way you can really connect with the podcast. I do definitely want you to understand, I don't want you to overthink this. Basically, everything you see online is a piece of real estate, and usually there's a way to buy or work to start showing up in that area. And that's why I created the 7 framework, for you, is so that you can kind of organize this like I have over the last 10 years to make sense of all this when you start going from top to bottom through your marketing strategy, building something that's cohesive and helping your business grow. So there's 2 questions you need to be asking. Sorry for the long pause there. But as you're going through this, which real estate or area that I pay for or work towards to show up in gets me the best return for my efforts, right? Best ROI, return on investment. And where should I start? And obviously, I suggest start at the top from reviews and work all the way down to more traditional means. But you can only take some of this if you want to try it, or start in the middle. But I definitely recommend that sequential from top to bottom. That's the episode. Please subscribe at fixedmarketer.com to get all the bonuses talked about today, as well as join the community. I'll keep you up to date with all the changes in marketing that are applicable. And by the way, I can't guarantee you results, but rather you can start becoming the master of your marketing by learning from others and measuring your own results as you apply what you learn.